It is not with threats or tariffs that the migration phenomenon or drug consumption in the United States will be addressed. President Claudia Sheinbaum this Tuesday, November 26. The head of the federal executive will send a letter to President-elect Donald Trump highlighting the importance of cooperation and understanding between the two nations. The President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, clarified to the President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, that it is not with threats or tariffs that the migration phenomenon or drug consumption in the United States will be addressed. Cooperation and reciprocal understanding are required for these great challenges. One tariff will be followed by another in response, and so on until we put common companies at risk. Yes, common. For example, the main exporters from Mexico to the United States are General Motors, Stellantis and Ford Motor Company, which arrived in Mexico 80 years ago. Why impose a tax that puts them at risk? It is not acceptable and would cause inflation and job losses for the United States and Mexico. This is what she says in a letter she read at her morning press conference, the Morning Press Conferences of the People, which she will send on Tuesday, November 26 to the American president-elect, who yesterday reported through the social network, Truth Social, that one of his first executive orders upon taking office will be to impose a 25% tariff on all products from Mexico and Canada, as well as an additional 10% on the established tariffs for imports from China. In the letter, the President of Mexico stated that she is convinced that the economic strength of North America lies in maintaining its commercial partnership, since in this way it can continue to be more competitive against other economic blocs. I believe that dialogue is the best path to understanding, peace and prosperity in our nations. I hope that our teams can meet soon, she added. He stressed that Mexico has developed a comprehensive policy to assist migrants from different parts of the world who cross Mexican territory and are headed for the southern border of the United States of America. As a result of this policy, and according to figures from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office, CBP, encounters at the border between Mexico and the United States have been reduced by 75% from December 2023 to November 2024. Incidentally, half of those who arrive do so through a legally granted appointment by the United States program called CBP-1. For these reasons, caravans of migrants no longer arrive at the border, he clarified. The head of the federal executive pointed out that, together, the two nations must arrive at another model of labor mobility and attention to the causes that lead families to leave their homes of origin out of necessity, for which she argued that if a percentage of what the United States allocates to war is dedicated to building peace and development, mobility would be addressed in depth. She recalled that Mexico, for humanitarian reasons, has always expressed its willingness to prevent the fentanyl epidemic from continuing in the United States, which it described as a problem of consumption and public health. So far this year, the Mexican armed forces and prosecutors have seized tons of different types of drugs, 10,340 weapons, and arrested 15,640 people for violence related to drug trafficking. A constitutional reform is in the process of being approved in the legislative branch of my country to declare the production, distribution and marketing of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs a serious crime without the right to bail, she revealed. However, she pointed out that it is public knowledge that chemical precursors for the manufacture of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs enter Canada, the United States and Mexico illegally from Asian countries, which is why international collaboration is urgent, she said. In addition, she informed President-elect Donald Trump that 70% of illegal weapons seized from criminals in Mexico come from the United States. We do not produce the weapons, we do not consume the synthetic drugs. Those killed by crime to meet the demand for drugs in your country, unfortunately, are provided by us, she emphasized. The President of Mexico later declared in a question-and-answer session of her morning meeting with the media that she has the vision that there will be an agreement with President-elect Donald Trump, because our economies complement each other and our nation is free and sovereign, which is why it maintains a relationship of equals with all nations of the world. Let Mexicans, all of them, businessmen, women, American companies in Mexico, ordinary businessmen, Mexican businessmen who have investments in the United States, know that an agreement will be reached. All of this generates employment in the United States and generates economic strength for the two nations, and also for Canada. So, let them know that we are going to reach an agreement, she said. For this reason, the national leader reiterated her call for the markets to remain calm, since they are working together on the Mexico plan and a dialogue with the United States will be established. There is a government, there are people, we Mexicans are united in this regard, there will be other things that we have differences and that is good because we are a democracy, But there are issues where there is unity, and in that we are going to reach an agreement, and so we are going to go to dialogue with President Trump and his team, she said. He reported that he will also send a letter to the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, in which he will explain that Mexico has worked on strengthening the commercial relationship between the three nations, since only in the automotive sector in our country, foreign direct investment from 2006 to 2024, from the United States and Canada, reached an amount of $33,357 million. In contrast, that of China alone is $590 million. And we have a plan, which is called the Mexico Plan. And we will also present this plan at the time to President Trump and also to Canada, because, the truth is, Mexico was very generous with Canada, because they were about to expel it from the treaty with the 2018 negotiation, and it was President López Obrador who said and advocated for Canada to stay in the treaty. So, that is why I say, we complement each other, he concluded.